My beloved children, today we are diving into a subject that many of you may find challenging, something that I know weighs heavily on your hearts. Have you ever felt confused or overwhelmed trying to understand what I truly meant when I said, turn the other cheek? Maybe it was during a moment when someone betrayed you, or when you felt disrespected and weren't sure how to respond. Have you ever felt the weight of trying to love others while still protecting yourself? Have you been struggling to understand how to forgive without being hurt repeatedly? How to set boundaries without feeling like you are failing to love others as I have commanded? I know these questions have haunted many of you, causing sleepless nights, moments of confusion, and deep emotional wounds. You might even be wondering if turning the other cheek means allowing yourself to be walked over, or if it means letting people continue to hurt you without any consequences. Please stay with me until the very end, because what I'm about to share might change everything for you. How you see forgiveness, how you love, and how you carry the burdens on your heart. You are not alone in this journey, and I am right here with you every step of the way. You see, my children, there's a powerful truth about turning the other cheek, but it's one that has been misunderstood for far too long. This message is not about allowing others to mistreat you or staying in harmful situations. Instead, it's about choosing a path that brings real freedom, a peace that only I can give you, and healing for your heart. So today, don't skip a word of what I'm about to say, because the clarity you've been longing for is right here. So let's journey together into what forgiveness truly means, into understanding how to love others while also protecting your heart, and how to find the strength to set boundaries that honor both you and me. When Jesus spoke of turning the other cheek, he was inviting you into a new way of responding to hurt, a way that breaks the cycle of violence, resentment, and bitterness. Jesus said, "But I tell you, do not resist an evil person. If anyone slaps you on the right cheek, turn to them the other cheek also." I know these words sound difficult, even impossible, and I understand the fear that comes with the idea of being hurt again. For many, this feels impossible, and I see the fear that creeps into your hearts at the thought of being hurt again. But my beloved, understand that this was never about being weak or defenseless. It was about embodying a love that rises above revenge, a love that can heal wounds instead of deepening them. This kind of love requires courage, a courage that you already have within you because I have placed it there. It's about stepping into a courage that confounds the world. Think about Jesus as he hung on the cross. They mocked him, they tortured him, they took joy in his suffering, and yet he prayed, "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing." My beloved, this wasn't an act of weakness. It was an act of unimaginable love and strength, one that shows you that true power lies in forgiveness, not revenge. Can you imagine the strength it takes to love in the face of such pain? Jesus turned the other cheek, not because he lacked the power to fight back, but because he understood that the real battle wasn't against flesh and blood. The real battle was against hatred, pride, and sin. Turning the other cheek was an act of powerful love, a love that broke the power of darkness, not by mirroring it, but by transcending it. But I also know that you're human. I know the pain you feel when someone betrays you, when they disregard your feelings, or when they push you beyond what you think you can bear. This is why today I want you to know that forgiveness does not mean allowing someone to continue to harm you. Forgiveness is about releasing the hold that their actions have over your heart, giving you the freedom to heal. It's about reclaiming your joy and peace, and allowing yourself to move forward without the weight of bitterness. Forgiveness is not an invitation for abuse. It's a powerful choice that sets your heart free and allows you to live in the light of my love. You see, turning the other cheek doesn't mean abandoning boundaries. It means abandoning hatred. There's a powerful story in the Bible that illustrates this, the story of David and Saul. Saul, driven by jealousy, sought to kill David. David had many chances to harm Saul, to take revenge, but each time he chose not to. He chose my way, the way of compassion, even when it was difficult. He spared Saul's life, not because Saul deserved it, but because David knew that my ways are higher, that trusting me meant leaving justice in my hands. He trusted that vengeance wasn't his to take. My beloved David also knew when to step away. He fled from Saul. He put distance between himself and harm. He showed forgiveness, but he also knew that setting boundaries was necessary for his own safety and well-being. This is what I want for you too. To forgive, but also to have the wisdom to set boundaries when needed. To know that stepping away from harm is not a failure of love, but sometimes the truest expression of it. If you're still with me, I want you to think about a time when someone hurt you deeply. Did you feel that deep ache for justice, that burning desire for them to understand just how much they hurt you? That feeling is valid, my child, and I want you to know that I see your pain and I care deeply about it. I see those emotions, my child, and I know how hard it is to carry them. It's natural. I see those feelings, and I don't condemn you for them. But listen to me. Holding on to bitterness is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to suffer. It only ends up hurting you, keeping you locked in a cycle of pain. It only keeps you chained to the hurt. When I ask you to forgive, I'm not asking you to dismiss the pain or pretend it never happened. I am asking you to give that pain to me, to let me be the one to carry it for you. Imagine placing that heavy burden in my hands and feeling the weight lift off your shoulders. I'm asking you to trust me with it. I'm asking you to allow me to be your justice, to be your healer, and to lift that heavy burden off your shoulders. Forgiveness isn't always something that happens in an instant. Sometimes it's a journey. Sometimes it takes time, and that's okay. Healing is not a race, and I am patient with you every step of the way. Sometimes you have to choose to forgive every day, even when the feelings of hurt rise again, and that's okay. It's a process. Remember Peter, who asked Jesus, "Lord, how many times shall I forgive my brother or sister who sins against me? Up to 7 times. And Jesus answered, "I tell you, not 7 times, but 77 times. My child, I know forgiving someone over and over feels like too much to ask, but it's not for their sake that I ask it. It's for yours. Each time you choose to forgive, you are choosing freedom. You are choosing to not let the actions of others control your heart. And yet, forgiveness doesn't mean you have to stay in a situation where you're being harmed. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do for yourself and for the other person is to create space. Creating a boundary doesn't mean you're failing to love. It means you're valuing the heart I created in you, honoring it and keeping it safe as I intend for you to do. Boundaries are a form of love, not only for yourself, but also for the other person, as they help prevent harm and maintain respect. Jesus himself set boundaries. When the Pharisees came to trap him, he didn't engage with their malice. He often withdrew to quiet places to pray, to protect his heart and renew his spirit. Boundaries are not a sign of weakness. They are a sign of wisdom and of love. Love for yourself and trust in me to lead you in every step. If you find yourself struggling with the idea of forgiving someone who has hurt you, I want you to take a moment right now to breathe. I know it's not easy, but I am with you. You are not alone in this journey. I am here to help you, to heal you, and to give you the strength that you need. If this message is touching your heart, and if you want to continue receiving my guidance, please subscribe. By subscribing, you are choosing to stay connected to my words, to my love, and to the truth that you do not have to carry these burdens alone. Think about Joseph, who was betrayed by his own brothers and sold into slavery, left feeling abandoned, hurt, and forgotten. Years later, when he faced those same brothers, he had the power to punish them. He could have used his position in Egypt to make them pay for all the pain they caused. But what did he do? He chose forgiveness. He chose to rise above the pain and say, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives." In that moment, Joseph chose to see my hand at work, even in the darkest moments. Joseph trusted me to turn his pain into something beautiful. Joseph understood that even in the midst of betrayal, I was working for good. He turned the other cheek, not by becoming a victim again, but by choosing to see the bigger picture, by trusting that I was working all things together for good. My beloved, turning the other cheek is not about letting someone continue to harm you. It is about choosing to rise above the hurt. It is about trusting that I am the one who will right the wrongs, that I am the one who will bring justice, and that your role is to keep your heart free from hatred. It takes more strength to forgive than to strike back. It takes more courage to keep your heart open to love, even after being hurt, than it does to shut it off behind walls of anger and fear. And every time you choose love over hatred, you are choosing me, and I am so proud of you. But I promise you this, when you choose my way, when you choose love, you will find a freedom that no act of revenge could ever bring. There's a reason I said, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God." When you choose to turn the other cheek, to forgive, to create peace rather than conflict, you are stepping into your true identity, a beloved child of mine. You are not weak for forgiving. You are strong because you trust in my strength rather than your own. You are brave because you choose to love in a world that often tells you to hate. If this message has touched you, I want you to take a moment and comment below. I choose to forgive. I choose to trust in your strength. Let this be your declaration today. Let this be the moment you choose freedom over bitterness, love over hatred, peace over conflict. Share this message with your family and friends so they too can understand what it truly means to turn the other cheek. Not a sign of weakness, but a sign of incredible strength, rooted in love and in me. My beloved child, I see your pain, I see your struggle, and I see your heart. And I am proud of you. Proud of every time you chose love, even when it hurt. Proud of every time you chose to forgive, even when it felt impossible. I am here with you, and I will never leave you. Remember, you do not have to do this alone. Together we will walk this journey. Together we will heal. Together we will rise above the hurt, and you will see that my grace is enough for you, today and always. Trust in me, lean on me, and know that even when you feel broken, I am holding you close, wrapping you in my love and grace. You are never too broken for my love, and there is no piece of you that I cannot heal. I love you with all your scars and all your fears. I am working all things, even the hardest moments, together for your good, because you are my precious child. When you feel weak, I am your strength. When you feel lost, I am your guide. And when you feel overwhelmed, I am your peace. Together, we will walk this journey of forgiveness, and together, we will find the freedom that only my love can bring.